Hello, it is Tuesday, June 9th. Welcome to McAfee and Hawk Sports Talk. I am the first name in that name, McAfee. To my left, the Hawk portion of that, Mr. AJ Hawk, who has won a Super Bowl. Ever heard of it?
Oh, shit.
Oh.
Yeah, you kicked off in the Super Bowl your rookie year, Pat.
Oh!
Big deal.
Well, we lost that game, but it was a big deal at the time. You won. We got a chance to watch you lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers just a couple weeks ago, wasn't it? No, you won that game. Yeah, you won that game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. It was on television a couple weeks ago. Live sports seem to be coming back, AJ. And one of them, I think that you and I both are pumped up about. Fight Island has been announced. It is in Abu Dhabi at Yas Island. And there's already fights being named. Daniel Cormier is fighting Stipe Miocic from Ohio. They're fighting each other at Fight Island. They have their own plane to take people to and from Fight Island. Dana White said that he has an island he is creating for people to fight on. This was at the beginning of the quarantine. Now it is coming to fruition August 15th. No, they're not fighting. Is that when it is? Fight Island's August 15th?
No, it's before that.
So they're not fighting on Fight Island. No, but Fight Island is happening.
Yeah.
Big time fights happening. And good for Dana White. He's potentially also fighting Dan Batard at Fight Island. AJ, big UFC fan. We're a big UFC show. This has got to get you pumped up. Got to get the blood boiling a little bit that the Island thing happened in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, Dana had been talking about this forever. I guess then a day or two it leaked out that it was going to be in Abu Dhabi, and Dana has confirmed that and said all of the precautions that are in place. There's a 10 square mile area where it's only going to be for fighters and trainers and stuff.
Is that what it is, the island? Because Abu Dhabi's the middle of the desert, right? So is the island just going to be a metaphorical thing that they are away from?
Like an oasis.
Like they're kind of like a biodome? Or is this an actual... Yas Island is an island, though, so I believe it probably does
They had fought there before. They fought in the past here.
Really? So this isn't like a new place. This is just remarketed?
Yeah, I guess. I think Dana signed some kind of deal with them to put however many fights on this island. I think they've added... Dana said there will be an octagon on the beach, I guess, probably for people to train and maybe for them to get some good-looking photography. Is this a picture of the island?
It technically is an island.
Well, they make islands in Abu Dhabi. I mean, they make their own islands all the time.
Yeah, there's so many billions of dollars over there. Jeff Bezos looks like a cuck over there. So, I mean, it is a very, I mean, he does. He looks like a beta over there. That is just, that oil money is a tall stack of cash. And that's what happened with Abu Dhabi, right? The people who had all the money, or Dubai, right? Is Abu Dhabi in Dubai? Oh, I don't know. We should know more, I guess, about this. But Dubai was created, United Arab Emirates, I believe. It was literally created because people had money. They want to build their own country. They build that thing up. Now it's like the nicest country on earth. Abu Dhabi, I'm not sure the ins and outs of that, but it looks like that is a beautiful, absolutely gorgeous place. And Dana White is like, you know what? We'll do it here. Let's put an island up here. Good marketing calling it Fight Island, by the way. Good marketing there. I'm all about a good island that people are just going to get after it on.
Is this a graphic of the island, or is this some other?
This is a
place?
graphic with a legend on it, and it looks like there's an IKEA there.
Zoom in.
Yeah, zoom in.
Because this looks like when you're at a resort and they're trying to tell you where to head to and where not to go to. Like, oh, the kid slides in the middle there, and then you got the little beach for families up on the top, for adults only at the bottom. Damn.
Yeah, so there'll be a 10 square mile area of that island, it sounds like, that's going to be kind of quarantined from the rest of the people.
So Ferrari World's #1. I don't know if that's an actual like roller coaster or an actual like venue.
Is this the coolest place on earth? How did I not know this place exists? There's where is this at, by the way? Where is what country is Abu Dhabi? Is Abu Dhabi a country?
Safe to say,
nobody knows. Nobody knows. Okay, so I'm not the only idiot. For the people that are watching this later, and if they want to destroy me in the comment section, we have a guy that got accepted to Harvard has no fucking idea over here in Thailand.
It's a city. Abu Dhabi is a city. It's a lot of B's and
It's
B's.
the capital of the United Arab Emirates.
Okay, so that's where Dubai is, right? Is that not where Dubai is?
I believe so.
So I was right. Good. You guys all looked at me like I was wrong, by the way. Anytime I get that look from you guys, and it might be because you guys think that you don't know the answer or that I'm wrong, it's the same look. It's always like, don't fucking look this way. We do not know. But this is going to be a big deal, obviously. Fight Island, great marketing name. Going to have fights. He's done fights there before. They just signed a bigger deal. Good for Dana. Is he going to fight Dan Le Batard over there? Is that where it's going to happen?
I hope so. Doesn't it sound like it? So Dana and Le Batard have been going back and forth with each other, and they both sound like they are 100% in on fighting each other. Dana absolutely will take this fight. I'm just wondering if Le Batard will make this happen.
Le Batard, obviously, trailblazer in the radio daily show world. I mean, the show is massively successful for ESPN for a long time, has a huge following. He's had me on the show a couple times, been very nice to me. I'm very, very thankful. Still got some things of that nature. But I feel like this is a bad decision for Dan Le Batard. Dana White, he was a boxing trainer, I think. Way back in the day, he was like a boxing trainer and a boxer, and that's how he got into the fight game. And then he was training people, and then he was living in a basement. Then he said, let's buy this human cockfighting thing to the Fertitta brothers, who were his friends at the time. I feel like he has a deep history in the fight game, in an actual boxing background. I'm not sure Dan Le Batard does. But Dana White also, what? He has $1 billion at this point. He can direct all of his attention to getting the greatest trainers on earth to just train him. And I feel like he's potentially going to play bongos or drums with Dan Le Batard's face if that's the case. And I don't want to see it. I like Le Batard. I like Stugatz, but Dana White would beat the shit out of that guy.
It would be pretty sweet to have Dan Le Batard's dad in the corner, though, with him. No!
see, 33. Throws in the white towel.
Yeah, just throws it in.
Just to get me out of here. This is insane.
Worked out perfect, though. Pat, have you seen it? So Daniel Cormier has come out. He said, I will corner Dana. Jorge Masvidal, who was huge on the Le Batard show, Masvidal said, I will corner Le Batard. So there's so many reasons why this makes so much sense. Dana can work out at the Performance Institute that he built out there in Vegas. You know he'll take it serious. Now, the question is, are they going to test for juice? Hopefully not, and both of these guys get on everything.
Oh, let them take everything they can possibly take. However, I mean, they're a little bit older, both of them, but if they want to get on whatever, I assume they're both on TRT to begin with. Testosterone replacement therapy or whatever it is, because that feels like you can get one of those at every single corner here in Indiana. I'd assume that's the way it is. As soon as you get older, you just sign up to do that thing, get a shot in your ass, get some other stuff, and you just keep it moving. I'm not old enough for that yet, but as soon as I become the age of that, probably going to happen if I had to guess. But I don't see how, even with the baddest motherfucker, Jorge Masvidal in his corner, Dan Le Batard stands any chance here against Dana White. His life has been completely revolved around humans fighting other people. I would just assume through osmosis he would be a pretty good fighter. I mean, I watch one mixed martial arts fight all of a sudden, and I know exactly how to fucking make a microphone tap out. No! Imagine if you had that in your basement. Dana had a fight happen in his basement where Sugar Show was just knocking people out. I feel like Dan Le Batard is up against quite a massive favorite in this. It would have to.
It is, but Le Batard's sitting in a great spot, though. Think about it. Who would expect him to win? No one's going to expect him to beat Dana White. So he goes in. Everyone's expectations are super low. So even if he goes and he doesn't win, but say he doesn't get knocked out, it's like, oh, how does Dana not knock this guy out? Like he probably should have. So I think Le Batard's like in a power position here, and they can raise a ton of money for it. And they both seem to genuinely dislike the other one.
Yeah, what happened? Le Batard said something about Dana?
So it was on an interview. Le Batard actually challenged Dana White to the fight, like, hey, we should fight for charity. And now obviously Dana's
and Dana
come
heard
back.
that and was like, this motherfucker.
Immediately, as a response, he was like, yes, absolutely. Let's do it.
Yeah, do not challenge Dana if you don't really want to fight.
By the way, Dana is a savage. Okay?
Big boy.
He is a savage. I don't know about his size and dimension comparisons.
He said he has 80 pounds on Le Batard.
And that's before he gets into whatever training camp, fight camp he would get into. Has Dan Le Batard, now this is not a knock on Dan Le Batard, real question. Has he ever played a sport in his life?
Let's check.
Like fight
I think
camp.
that's kind of a knock. I think he would take that as a knock on him.
I didn't mean it. I just didn't know. I don't know, because I know him from his good brain and good words on the radio. I don't know if he's a sport person. Imagine somebody who's never done a training camp before just getting dropped into a training camp and saying, like, yeah, this is what you're going to do, okay? So you're going to run till you puke in the morning. Then you go and do your show that everybody, this is how you make your living. And then afterwards, we're going to do probably some sparring sessions. And then, by the way, at night, you're going to run till you puke again. And then you're going to wake up and do that for another 4 weeks. Do you think somebody, I don't even know if I could do that right now. And I've had to do that for multiple sports in my life. I am not sure that Dan Le Batard's just going to go in there. And I think if I'm Dan, I'm throwing bombs early and just hoping that one lands. And then maybe I'm just, is this an MMA fight or a boxing match?
It's got to be boxing, I would think.
I'm worried about Dan, man. He is going to die.
They're going to wear, if they do fight, they'll probably have to wear headgear. It'll be a boxing match. Like, I don't know if he can.
I don't know if Dana will
much
like
damage.
that. I don't think Dana will promote the headgear and stuff like that.
I don't think he would. I mean, do they have to get licensed somewhere to make this happen, though?
Who's negotiating the deal, too? Because if Dana's negotiating this deal, he'll somehow have smaller gloves on. Dan Le Batard will be wearing big gloves. He'll be like, Dan, bigger gloves, you'll be smart. I mean, this is...
Actually, you know what? If they could do it any weight class with no headgear if they go fight on that the reservation that Dana was originally going to have out in California.
Put it on Fight Island. So not only does Dana have to worry about Dan Le Batard, he's got John Jones saying, let me the hell out of here. He's got Jorge Masvidal, who's about to take the side of somebody who's about to fight against Dana. He wants the hell out. Conor McGregor wants out. Dana right now is playing full... fucking John, you can't go. John, come on. You failed 45 tests. What do you want from me? And then Jorge Masvidal was like, what do you... And then Conor, I can't get you... He's doing this, and then all of a sudden Le Batard comes in. He's like, I can knock that motherfucker out, though. Like, I can't handle this situation here, but that one I definitely can. Let's go guns a-blazing towards that one. John Bone Jones feels as if the days of seeing him dominate in the UFC... and then inevitably the conversation follows the next day about he failed a test or something happened or when's this going to happen. I think John Jones is one of those guys who could have done the Floyd Mayweather route just like 5 years ago. John Bones Jones, everybody was understanding this guy is the guy. This is the phenom. This is the guy who's going to be the best fighter on earth. Whenever he was doing fights, he was toying with people. I got a chance to watch him in Baltimore he did the Ray Lewis entrance music. It was just like, this guy's the next big guy. This guy's selling out arenas. And then obviously all the problems outside the octagon start piling up. And I'm not sure if he can still do it anymore, but John Jones, still one of the biggest names in the UFC's history. The fact that he's not happy with Conor and Jorge. I mean, Dana's in the middle. He's entrenched in some battles right now.
Dana's, of course, but Dana loves it. I think he thrives in chaos. That's like what his personality lends itself to. So I think Dana doesn't mind. All of this stuff is still, although some of it may seem negative for the UFC, it's still publicity. Dana doesn't care. He's the only show in town right now. They're the only one putting on live sports, aren't they?
AFL's back in 2 days. Yeah! AFL's back Thursday morning. Sharon! Guy's name? Thomas William Sharon. Handcrafted the first ever ball in 1880. Ever heard of it? Now they're doing the same quality handcrafted ball that your foot will love, I believe is their tagline. That's back. July 31st, the NBA's back. The MLB is going to be back. Did you hear us talk about this in the first show?
I did not.
Okay, so I talked to Jet Passon, and Jet Passon
just, is he on call at all times for your show and this show, it seems like?
I don't know. I sent him a text and he answers. But I'm waiting for the day when he doesn't answer. That does happen to me on a very regular basis.
Jeff's good, but hey, the more you can do. Jeff's like, hey, I'm not just a baseball guy. He can come here and chop it up with you and talk about everything, it seems like.
Yeah, I think he could. He seems to have a great personality. He's good for baseball for sure. But every time I have a baseball question, I just go, he's my authority on baseball. Jet Passon is my authority on baseball.
We know any baseball opinion that you have is just a regurgitated, like, second-rate opinion of Jeff Passon.
Oh, bingo. Yeah, that's no. Also, Trevor Bauer. Ever heard of him? I take into account what Trevor Bauer says, who's a pitcher. I take into account what Tucker Barnhart says. But Jet Passon right now is really directing the narrative in my brain on how these conversations are going. And I talked to him about, I said, why don't the players just strike? And then he led me to a conversation he had with somebody where basically the players can't strike. It would be an illegal strike, an illegal work stoppage, which is a breach of contract, which would screw the players going forward, especially with another CBA going. So at the end of the day, the MLB has all the control here. There's literally nothing the players can do. If the MLB wants to do 48 games, they'll put that schedule in and say, you got to play 48 games. That's just the way it goes. So all this hanky-panky, give and take. We don't like it, prorate, salary cap, revenue split, blah, blah, blah. All that. It doesn't matter because the MLB at the end of the day can go, here, this is what you're doing, whether you like it or not. And after talking to Euclid this morning, that 48-game thing could be potentially detrimental to a lot of teams and players' careers and stuff like that because it's nowhere near what regular baseball is.
It's not. So what did Euclid say? Like, what would be the worst thing about having 48 games?
Well, you don't, because the Washington Nationals, who won the piece of metal last year, they were 19-31 in their.
You're talking about they won the World Series?
Yeah, the piece of metal.
Okay.
I didn't say that. Fucking Rob Manfred did.
The commissioner did.
Oh, he did.
Well,
It's his trophy.
He said he don't want to take a piece of metal. What does that prove? But anyways, they were 19-31 in their first 50 games. And then they got hot the second half of the season. Their pitching figured some things out. Their hitting figured some things out. They end up winning the whole thing. So I think that is the case study that everybody's going to point to. It's like baseball isn't supposed to be this short. Maybe 80 games, Euclid said, but 48 games, your pitchers are only getting like 7 starts when normally they'd have 35 or something like that. It's a whole different world. And I think a lot of baseball players probably echo that sentiment. But as an average fan, I'm like, hey, 48 games, every game counts, figure it out. And they're like, well, that's just not how the game works. I'm like, well, I'm telling you what they're going to say. It's just how it's going to go. But that's what Jet Passon basically said.
So, but it sounds like that Major League Baseball, they have all the power, they have all the leverage, and the players just have to bow down, even though they're trying not to. I give them credit; they don't want to. Like, they think this would be bad for the game, but at the end, like you said, it would be like illegal for. They can't really strike.
There's
they
nothing
don't really have
you
any
can
power.
do. There's nothing you can do. I've tried to think about this numerous. Plus, they got a new CBA coming up, a negotiation coming up. So it's just like the thing that they put in there for work stoppages and breaches of contract and things of that nature. It's insane. It is absolutely insane to think that all these conversations have been happening where the MLBPA is pitching things and the MLB is proposing things. It's like it doesn't matter if you really look into it. It doesn't matter. The MLB can do whatever the hell they want, and they know.
How many
it.
guys, Pat? How many guys, especially if you're a baseball player and you're repped by Scott Boras, who seems to have so much power? Contracts now moving forward. How many guys are going to hold out because owners are going to want to put some kind of COVID pandemic clause to where we don't have to pay you or whatever? And Boras is going to be like, no. If this happens again, if it flares up, we have to shut things down. My guys still get paid. Like, there's going to be all kind of weird legal language, I feel like, thrown in.
So there was a national emergency clause in all contracts, basically, where this was deemed a national emergency. Yep. It did have a work stoppage. The owners, by the contract, can opt to not pay anybody, I believe. If I read what I read earlier properly that Dig showed me, that is in there. A national emergency clause is in there where work stoppage happens, where the owners don't owe anything. What was it?
Yeah, I think that was that was a clause, and then they came to some sort of agreement in February or March or whatever. Because of that clause and things like of that nature.
And that was the agreement, by the way.
And that's why the owners had now have
all the power.
Yeah.
That's why that agreement that they made confirmed or whatever that the strike would be an illegal strike, which is a breach of contract. So it's like there's a lot of things working against the players. And it always, I said this on the earlier show, it's always going to favor the owners in collective bargaining. Always is, because they get in front of it PR-wise. They float out an idea. The fans go, yeah, that's it. And then the player's like, well, that's not the way it goes. And everybody's like, well, the players are spoiled. Just take the fucking deal. That's how it always goes and will always be. But it feels like it's even written in there, like, yeah, this is how it goes. You're just going to take whatever you want. Because they've been offering them different amount of games, same amount of money, though. So the amount of money that they offered up for basically the 48-game season versus if there was a 75-game season, same amount of money. The owners have already made this is what we're going to give. This is what you're going to make. And if you don't like it, get the hell out. Breach of contract. Now we don't have to pay you the hundreds of millions and millions we agreed to. It's wild.
So if they say they play 48 games, is there any way that they can try to ramp it up and get more games by having multiple doubleheaders and everything, which players I know do not like?
I think the doubleheader thing was one of the original proposals. There was going to be 3 doubleheaders a week or something. Like that was one of the original conversations. This was back when they were thinking about doing Biodome in Arizona. Mm-hmm. They still haven't figured out how teams are going to travel in the local thing. They still haven't figured that out.
Wait, where are they playing? Do we know where they're playing?
They have to play at their stadiums because the local media is such a big deal when it comes to the finances of the MLB. It's like somewhere in between 2.5 to 4 point something billion dollars a year of revenue from local radio, local television. So that was the big deal against the Biodome thing that was potentially going to happen in Arizona because all their money comes from the local marketing. So it's like, I think that's why you saw New York come out and say you can play here because the Yankees wanted to get that back. Jersey said it. Florida said professional sports are available here. Arizona. And now there's rules with Canada for the NHL. I mean, there's rules being changed for these leagues. And the MLB one was that sports could happen at the local stadium. So I think they're planning on traveling around to the stadium still.
Have they mentioned anything about having any kind of fans in the stadium like college football's talked about?
No, I don't think there's any conversations about fans in stands. Now, granted, with every new day comes more information about this coronavirus. New asymptomatic carriers don't share it as much as everybody said back in the day, allegedly. I mean, who knows who we're allowed to believe and who should believe and shouldn't believe. But at this point, allegedly, the asymptomatic carriers aren't spreading it like they thought it was. So
That's
maybe
good news.
Good news. Mm-hmm. Good news. I mean, kind of bad news because they shut down the country for a lot longer because of that, shut down the world because of the thought of that happening. But the fact that we've learned that that's not happening, it is good news. Also good news for stadiums getting fans back in there and gatherings of things in the sport world. I think we're going to see fans in stands a lot sooner than people were predicting. Now, the government has to okay it and all, but you see humans just day to day and with these protests. I thought there was a chance people would be scared to be around people again. It feels like that's not the case. It feels like it's complete opposite. People are excited to get back around people because the human is a social species, is what I learned on the internet numerous times. So I think there's going to be fans back in there. Baseball, I'm not 100% sure with how quickly they have to start, but I think by fall, I think you're going to see people getting back in the stands.
Don't you think we're going to get to the point where they're eventually going, I don't know when this may be, but they're going to give people a choice. Like, hey, if you want to go watch a college football game, 100,000 people, you can go. If you don't want to go, obviously stay away. And same thing like with, I guess for jobs, you're going to have some kind of clause. Like if they want to open things up for everyone, kind of say, hey, we're open for business. If you're old or you feel like you don't feel safe, you can still work from home. You don't have to come and you don't have the threat of being fired still maybe. Like, don't you think we're going to get to that?
Yeah, it feels like there's going to be a lot of work from home stuff. I mean, that's a good...
Some people want to. I know I've talked to my buddies that work around and they said, a lot of them like, hey, okay, we took a poll and we asked like 60% of our people who've been working from home, they don't want to come back. They want to stay working from home.
Yeah, because it's just, you can work at your own time.
But you can't, if you're truly trying to work from home, like, and you have kids there as well and like things going on around you, like it's not the easiest thing to do to work from home.
You have 17 children. So I think yours is a little bit different than everybody else's.
No, it's the same as it. I'm lucky that I have a attic up here where there's a combination on the door that I can lock, but my kids know the combination.
I always wanted to put a fingerprint room in my house where it's like beds and TVs and only my fingerprint can get in. And I think
what are you going to do? What are you doing there though?
Relax.
Hang out.
Probably nap, smoke, if I had to guess. And the kids are kind of...
Okay. What about the other 12,000 square feet of your house? Can't you do that there?
Yeah, but if I have a kid, that little son of a bitch is going to find me. So I figured if I get a hidden room, only fingerprint to get in there. Then the thought came, like, well, what if I die in there? I'm just kind of stuck in a vault almost at that point. That could be problematic as well. I mean, there's a lot of things, but that's also why I don't have kids yet, because there's a lot of things to think about going forward. But yeah, I think a lot of people are going to work from home. I believe that's going to happen. I believe tech for work from home tech is probably the next big boom. Zoom needs to figure it the fuck out on people's faces and sound matching each other. They need to up their systems, I think, to keep up with the demand. I think there'll be other Zoom things. But yeah, I think a lot of people are going to go home. And I do believe there will be like, what's that thing called? An understanding of potential injury or sickness if you go into I think that'll become something whenever you go out into the real world. Like, hey, there's a chance you get the Rona. Also a chance you get the flu. Also a chance you see a human poop their pants. A lot of things can happen out there in public. Go ahead and sign here and say you're okay with it. And that's probably the new world that we're in.
Yep, that'll be in the small print on every ticket you buy, right?
Yep.
Could get corona, could get the flu, possibly may see somebody dump their pants. Sign here and you can go in.
Pink eye, big problem when people are pooping their pants everywhere. You ever seen a pink eye problem over there in New York?
Wait, you mean pink eye if you fart in someone's face?
Yep.
No, mostly because the homeless bums are pooping on the streets earlier.
Mm-hmm.
In San Fran? I know San Francisco has a serious issue with that.
Oh, New York, big time. I stepped in a human shit
I saw
3 times I've been there.
I hope you were barefoot.
I'm not a homeless man. I had shoes on in New York.
Well, I see all these other videos of you barefoot on golf courses and around the world.
Hey, my golf game on Friday, fucking look out. Look.
Did you buy 38 tee times so no one would bother you?
Nah, it was at a country club right next to my house. So I actually had to buy a membership just so I could golf. There was nowhere else to go, so I became a member just so I could golf.
You seem like the country club type.
Oh, yeah, they love me there. And I was a little bit nervous on how the no shoes thing was going to go over, because I feel like they were rather excited that I was a member. Like, I think...
They don't care. They love your money. They love the notoriety you bring, everything.
It's right next to my house, too. I mean, it's like half a mile down the road from my house. So I think I have been a potential marketing target of theirs for a while now at this point. So the fact that I went over there and became a member, I think there was a genuine excitement. And it's becoming a nice place. I drive past it. I see it. They're building a fitness center, all this shit. I'm like, okay. And there's 27 holes. This feels good. So I go become a member. I sign up just so I can golf one round or whatever, because you have to be a member to do it. So a year membership for 9 holes with a cart was a little bit aggressive, but that's why I'm not supposed to have money. But I was excited to see the reaction, by all the members whenever I fucking waltz out to tee number 1 there with no shoes on, and I had this big ass hat on, and I absolutely smoked a ball. I mean, if my golf game is anything like it was on Friday at that country club that I'm now a member of because I had to become a member to play 9 holes there, people are in trouble this year with my golf game.
So when are you going to play next?
Probably never. I mean, I thought about that this morning.
Who's in trouble then? What people are in trouble?
Well, just people that have to have a conversation with me about how I played this year. I played great. I shot a 40. Could have been a 38 probably. I hit a couple, hit 2 balls fat basically all day. I mean, it was the best round of golf I've had in a long time. And I'm like,
people are in trouble, especially, Pat, if you are going to bug people about how well you're playing in golf, and then you're also follow that up and explain in detail about your CrossFit workout every morning.
Well, I never did CrossFit because I knew the guy that founded it was a fucking scumbag. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I'll probably get sued for that, for like some slanderous comment or whatever. But that dude, what an idiot!
Reebok's dropping the CrossFit after like this year, I guess.
Just
right?
The most tone deaf idiot of all time. I don't even know why. There's going to be boxes for sale in every city. They got those boxes just on corners of cities and things like that. And a lot of the boxes, by the way, said, we don't support what they do. We're out. It's like, well, are you going to change the workout too? Like, what are we doing here? CrossFit gone. See you later. Unfortunately, CrossFit.
One of those things that won't survive the quarantine.
One of those companies that won't survive. It is a real shame, Reebok said see ya. ESPN probably said we're out. And I said no to it a long time ago. I was ahead of that game.
Why'd you say no?
Just because, I tried to go one time, and it was, I don't want to say I felt intimidated, but it was kind of intimidating. I saw somebody lifting probably 200 pounds less than I could lift, but the way they were stomping around in that box, I was like, well, I don't want to be a part of this at all. And then there's no time to really you got to bounce. And then there's some things I can't do. I can't do pull-ups because my legs are basically anchors at this point. So I don't want to embarrass myself in front of these humans for these things. And I showed up at one. Okay, I showed up at the box. Just didn't penetrate it. See you later. Looked from outside. Yeah, I'm not doing that. And I got out of there.
I get it. Why not? And if this country club that you joined now to play 9 holes, that's good. I'm sure they really love you as a member, actually. Just charge your account every week or every month for your dues.
$500, got to spend it. It's $300, $500, something along that. I got to spend it every single month. I got to spend it.
You and the lady going to be going out to dinner at this nice place.
Sam has been very against us going to that place for about anything. She was like, I don't have any collared shirts. I don't know how you want me to go to this thing. We're very new to this country club life. I don't.
Girls don't have to wear collared shirts to go eat dinner there.
I forgot you were such a country club guy. I'm a Rust Belt guy.
But when do girls wear collared shirts?
It's a fucking golf country club. Do you know?
If they're going to play golf, does your girl want to go play golf with you?
No, Sam. I mean, maybe she'll ride around in a cart and things of that nature. But to go do dinner at this esteemed country club, I would assume that they are expecting a little bit of a collar on there. I'm assuming, and I just don't know if that's our style. So I might never go back. By the way, they'll just withdraw money from me for probably 4 or 5 years, and then I'll realize it one day, and I'll say, I'm going to go golf a round. And it'll be like, I'm a member at this place. I've been paying, I don't know, $75,000 over the last 3 years to do it. Now I'm getting my second 9 holes in.
Well, the good thing is, though, once this fitness center is done, it's only, a half a mile from your house. You can run to the fitness center, jack some weight up for an hour or two, and then run home, and your whole workout will be complete. You can go in the pool and shoot your free throws, and then your rebounds are going to be your swim workout as well.
Pat McAfee Fit. Follow it on Instagram. That's what I'm saying. Maybe that takes over for CrossFit. Maybe that's what we do. We buy up all these boxes, and then we put them in my workout plan, which is actually leaving the box, then coming back and swimming. That's not a bad idea. A fitness plan that I can really get behind.
McAfee Fit. It'll work.
There's no chance I run to that country club, by the way. There's zero chance. I have a golf cart I'll probably take over there. I assume maybe a car I'll take over there. And to be completely honest, I'll probably never go back there. But they're going to get my money, and I am thankful for them. Dalvin Cook, speaking of getting money, Dalvin Cook said, I would like a reasonable extension before the season starts, or I am not attending any team events. This is very, very important because the Minnesota Vikings offense, if you do recall, revolved around Dalvin Cook so much so that Adam Thielen wasn't happy after a game and Stephon Diggs didn't come to a practice one day. Now, after that, their offense got opened up a lot more with Stephon Diggs, Thielen, Rudolph. But the main engine in that whole thing was Dalvin Cook. He is an incredible football player. Everybody agrees with it. And if you look at the other list of running backs that are going to be free agents after this season, it makes a lot of sense why Dalvin Cook wants to get paid now, because it very easily could be like the quarterback free agency situation where there's so much talent and not enough landing spots. Look at all those names. They're all going to be free agents next year. And if you're Dalvin Cook, you're seeing that, you're like, I'm getting my money now, as opposed to getting into that mix. And I would assume you're going to see a few of these other guys do the exact same thing.
I mean, when you look at that list, like it's not a great year this next upcoming offseason to be a free agent running back. Dalvin Cook, I think it's not an unreasonable thing for him to hold out to try to get money. He got 1 year, $1.3 million left on his contract. It's not like he has 3 years left and he wants to renegotiate. Like, yeah, does he deserve it? Most likely, yeah, absolutely. He's only 24 years old. I know he's been banged up a bit through his first couple of seasons, but we saw what he did last year and how valuable he is to that offense and to Kirk Cousins' success. This guy's huge for him.
Need a good running back if you want your quarterback to be good. It's just the way it operates. They go hand in hand.
Especially when it's like, if you look at the numbers, they run like almost 35% play action passing game with Dalvin Cook because he is that much of a run threat. So that's huge for Kirk Cousins. Like, he's absolutely pivotal. Like, I don't think Kirk is the same guy without him.
And if you look at the king of the NFC North, they can't stop the run for the life of them. So if you have a good running back and a good run game, that could cause big problems for the Green Bay Packers. I mean, that is an Achilles heel of theirs. Dalvin Cook knows that. Dalvin Cook knows what he's worth, knows how much he should get paid, and I think he knows the free agency for running backs next offseason is one that is not great. Travis Etienne also coming out of college, let alone other running backs that could be coming out of college. I would be getting my money now if I was him as well, because you have no idea who's going to get left out in the cold next offseason for the running back free agency market.
So do you think they get it done? I know GM Rick Spielman said like they like to take care of the guys that they draft, that they develop. They know them the best. You think they get this done before training camp?
They paid Kirk a lot, right? Mm-hmm. They paid Kirk Cousins a lot of money.
He had 1 year left on his deal, and they re-upped him.
Mm-hmm. They did get rid of Stephon Diggs, who's probably worth a lot more than Justin Jefferson is, so they might have some room in the cap. They might be able to do it. I think you got to keep Dalvin Cook. He is so good at football. It kind of gets underappreciated because the whole conversation is whether or not Kirk Cousins can win a big game, which he did last year, a couple of them. Good for primetime Kirk coming back into the world. But for me, I think you got to keep Dalvin Cook. But if it goes to free agency next offseason, if you're the Vikings, you go, oh, Dalvin, sorry, how much do you want? Okay, we'll go ask James Conner, see what he wants. James Conner, what do you want? Oh, we'll go ask Aaron Jones what he wants. Oh, we'll go ask Tariq Cohen, who had a massive year 2 years ago for the Chicago Bears. I'm sorry, we'll go to Kareem Hunt. Oh, I'm sorry, we'll go to any of these other running backs who are very good running backs. Not saying that they could do what Dalvin Cook has done, but boy, that puts the team in a great leverage spot if they wait until next year, and they know it as well, I'd assume.
Oh, they absolutely do. And when, I wonder what a reasonable extension means for Dalvin Cook. The good thing with him, he's only 24. Let's say they sign him to a 2 or 3 year deal. He probably wants David Johnson makes 13 this year for the Houston Texans. I'm guessing he wants something around there, like right you just popped it up. So what? If not surpass the 13 per year. So can the Vikings do it with their cap space? Could they give him a 2 or 3 year deal? You don't want to sign them super long-term extension. I just don't know what reasonable means for Dalvin Cook.
So this came out. I think if they got him at this price, they would be down with it. I think that would be something the Vikings would think about. But then another article with another statement came out and said,
yeah, so as per ESPN's Courtney Cronin, Minnesota's first offer to Cook wasn't deemed reasonable because it was worth less than $10 million per season. Cook's camp initially proposed a deal in the same range as Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey's $16 million annually on his 4-year extension, but the number has come down to $15 million in most recent talks.
that seems reasonable. Am I wrong?
I mean, Dalvin's asking for 15.
Yeah, he asked for Christian McCaffrey, which was above $16 million a year. They were pitching below $10 million a year. It's come down to 15. If it's come down to 15, that feels like
That's what Zeke's getting.
I don't
It'll
know.
happen. I feel like it'll happen if they said supposedly their offer was below 10. How much below? If it's 9.2 a year, guess what? And Dalvin's at 15, they can make up that difference. Sign him 12, 13 if you want to make him feel good and have a tiny bit more than what David Johnson is getting, then make it happen. But if they're at 9.5, they're not that far off.
Courtney Cronin,
C-R-O-N-I-N.
Courtney Cronin said that they're at 15 right now. If you're Dalvin Cook, now granted, you're probably not happy that Christian McCaffrey's getting broken off, but Christian McCaffrey just got a deal that nobody expected running backs to get. So if he takes something less than that, maybe he resets the running back market to come back down a little bit. So that's probably something Dalvin Cook doesn't want to do. But $15 million a year at running back, depending on how much is guaranteed.
It's a reasonable extension, don't you think?
Depending on how much is guaranteed, if it's over $30 million guaranteed, I mean, you got to feel pretty good about that if you're Dalvin Cook. I'm not thinking for Dalvin Cook. I haven't taken the hits that Dalvin Cook has taken. I haven't done any of that. But it seems like if that's what they're trying to get is reasonable, that feels like that's a reasonable extension. And also, when you look at that running back free agency market next year, I don't know if any of those guys are going to get $15 million a year. I don't know if any of them are going to. Even Derrick Henry, who's getting franchise tag this year, who just took a team on his back to the AFC Championship game. I don't know if just because there's so many talented guys here. So many. What is Todd Gurley going to do next year? All last year, he wanted to play. They weren't playing him. They were resting him. Then when he started playing him at the end of the year, they started winning again. Todd Gurley was an MVP-like player 2 years ago. If he has any of that for Atlanta this year, his market's going to be high. Kenyon Drake has a chance to do it. Alvin Kamara. I mean, this is a stacked lineup of running backs. I can't believe they're all up at the same time, to be honest with you. Just like all these quarterbacks that were up. This doesn't make any sense. So if you're Dalvin Cook and you're getting around $15 million a year offered to you, now nobody knows if that's true or not. I think that'd be hard not to be like, okay, I guess I'll take $45 million guaranteed. I guess. But good for Dalvin going and get his money. It's a very smart move by Dalvin, friend of the show. That's a very, very smart move.
He's a hell of a player. I love watching him play. But yeah, and especially if they sign you to a 2 or 3 year extension, I guess you would add that on to the 1 year he has left, and then you could become a free agent again before you're 30 years old.
Hey, you know what I want you to do in the next couple of days?
What?
I want you to say, you know what? I'm fucking tired of people chewing tobacco. I want you to say, you know what? I'm tired of people putting stuff in their mouth that is terrible for their future, that makes their teeth look disgusting, and overall just isn't good for everything they're about. You know what I'm saying, AJ?
Yeah, I know.
I want you to say, you know what?
Wait, who am I saying this to?
Ty Schmidt. You know what, Ty? You know what, Nick Moraldo? You know what these smokeless tobacco abusers and users, you know what they need to hear? That there is a great alternative to chewing tobacco, and that is from our friends at Canadips. Canadips is a company that has the finest CBD pouches that you could ever put into your mouth for a nice alternative or replacement to your chewing tobacco. Ty Schmidt has been chewing tobacco since he's 4 years old in Iowa. Ty, what are your thoughts on the CBD Canadips that we have introduced into your life within the last couple of weeks?
They're incredible. I actually have quit tobacco completely.
Oh!
Wow! Fully to Canadips.
Canadips have plenty of great flavors. I mean, there is this one, which is the tangy citrus.
That's my favorite.
Tangy citrus is Nick's favorite. It is also, I believe, Ty's favorite. But there's also a mint flavor. There is also a mango flavor. All these things are available right now whenever you head to Cannadips.com, CannadipsCBD.com, CANNADIPSCBD.com, and use promo code PAT15 for,
What?
No, it's 50.
Why is that? Why is it just Pat, though?
What happened to lip boomers?
What happened to Lip Boomers? I feel like that was a good one.
It was.
Well, that was only for 10%. Now it's 15%
Okay,
off, though.
all right.
When it gets to 20, it'll be called Hawk 20. But Pat 15 for 15% off the entire site. That is Pat 15 at CannadipsCBD.com. We just launched the cannabis strain flavor straight from the hills of Humboldt County. Go on to CannadipsCBD.com and buy the new Skittles strain tins. Straight dip from Cannadips CBD isn't tobacco flavored, but tastes like actual pot strains. Okay. Cannadips will launch a new strain every 2 to 3 weeks. Unbelievable flavor. Can't wait for the OG Kush to be released next week.
Oh, yeah.
OG Kush. Cannadips is what I'm here for. And the Humboldt collection is a beautiful one. It just launched. Go to CannadipsCBD.com. Pat15, 15% off site-wide. You chew tobacco, go ahead and get rid of it. Get it at Chew Cannadips CBD. Like our guy Ty, like our guy Nick, like our guy Connor.
Humboldt County's a wild place.
Watched
That documentary's awesome.
Murder Mountain or whatever, right?
Yep.
Hey, Pat, I saw one of your shows that you like. Came across it randomly. Whatever, Songmaster. What is it called?
Songland. Yeah, Songland.
Jeez. I tell you what. I started to get into it once, like whoever the people are on the panel, and then the person comes and sings a song, and then watching them kind of riff and go back and forth and pull their instruments out, play the piano. I was like, it sucked me in. I liked it. I watched probably 20 minutes.
It's a cool show.
It's a great show.
You're getting to see things that, like, I'm a big music fan. I enjoy music, and I enjoy the writing of music a lot. Like, I enjoy the lyrics a lot more than anything else. So whenever you see these three, Ryan, Shane, and Esther Dean, these three really successful songwriters and hit makers for people, kind of go to work. I never knew they existed, by the way. I became a One Republic
BB
fan.
Rexa was on it when I was there. Is she always there?
No, she's the guest. So they bring in a musician. Those 4 people come in, they pitch songs, then 3 of them get to work with the songwriters, then they make it better, they put the finishing touches on it, they perform, then the musician picks a song to use as their own.
So they can hopefully they'll punch up what these songwriters bring to the show.
Yes.
And then they can record it, and then they'll get royalties they'll be the songwriter.
Bingo, you become a songwriter. So it's all about building the songwriting community in Nashville, I guess, which is a massive one. And it's kind of, I opened my eyes to it when I used to jam to Kenny Chesney. Okay, I used to jam to Kenny Chesney. If I was on the beach, I think his songs have deep meaning. The lyrics are good and all this stuff. I had this.
Does he write his own songs?
Well, I had this emotional connection to Kenny Chesney, I thought, Then he wins an award for a song that I enjoyed. And there's like 75 motherfuckers on the stage that all wrote the song. I'm like, wait, so that wasn't Kenny that I was hearing from? That was all. I need to know about who wrote that song, because I have a great connection with whoever that is up on the stage. And I think this Songland show has just put into the spotlight, like the people that write all these songs. I love it. I very much love it. Last night was a great episode. They came away with some bangers, and just watching those geniuses start punching up songs. Shane McAnally, I believe his name is, the little redheaded guy.
Oh, he's a cocky sucker.
He's good though. He is a cocky sucker, but he is good.
Talented.
And then Esther Dean, they're so talented. I never knew they existed. And whenever a song wins, this is the first show where I think the judges in the talent, they're just as excited as the person that was pitching the song, because they are also a songwriter for BB Rexa. Or last night was Ben something. I never heard of the guy. Good music though. They picked a good song. I never heard of him.
Who's the one judge? Is he the One Republic lead singer?
Yeah, his name's Ryan something. Ryan Tedder. He's a stud. I became a One Republic fan because of it. Yeah. I mean, I love that song.
I didn't know. When you explained the show to me, I'm like, oh, that sounds awful. But then when I watched how they started to punch up what was brought to them and do it in real time. And you're watching like, okay, no, here we go. We're going to go here. I'm like, geez, this is watching some real geniuses at work that are super talented.
How about when they tell the drum, go up a half a BPM or whatever, and they're like, oh yeah, and they're like, all right, move that down a key, and they slide it down, and it's and then they start speeding it up, and that isn't your chorus actually, that's just your bridge. We got to get to your chorus a little bit. We got to move that back. And the songwriter's sitting there like, yep, okay, I've spent 10 years on this writing this. Yep, you're right. Oh my God, you just heard it for the first. It is mesmerizing to watch, and I have a whole new level of respect for the people behind the scenes of music because of it. But I literally think I'm one of the only humans that watches that fucking show. I don't think there's a lot of people that watch it.
Well, I might start DVRing it now. And it reminded me of, we had an assistant special teams coach one time show a clip in our special teams meeting of Michael Jackson behind the scenes. It was a clip from that documentary that they followed him before he died. Yeah. It was a clip of Michael like talking to his drummer and a couple other musicians about like the tiniest little details of one of the songs that he wanted. And it was like, geez, and he was about like the process and the work and preparation. That's what the message my coach was trying to get across. And it was impressive. I'm like, you just assume Michael Jackson, like someone else is doing all the music. He's like, I'm just going to work on my dancing and everything and figure everything out. But that dude was involved in every single aspect.
Same with Garth Brooks.
Have you watched Garth's documentary, his docuseries going on right now?
Did you watch it?
I watched episode and a half because I don't know if you know, our friend of the show, Tom Segura, does a huge chunk on Garth Brooks all the time on his podcast.
Well,
Garth is amazing.
Yeah.
He's all in his. Did you watch that documentary thing?
Oh, yeah, I tried.
He's always on the verge of tears, and I'm trying to figure it out.
I just don't know how each confessional that he does in that docuseries, it gets deeper somehow. Like
so dramatic. Like I'm like, man, you got to be exhausted because every word that comes out is so calculated and it's so passionate and deep. And I'm like, geez, man, how are you not just asleep at all times?
My dad. My dad told me the fire doesn't start unless there's a little bit of wood. And I think to find that wood, sometimes you got to go into the forest of life. And if you want to find that fire, you got to find that fucking tree that burns the best. And that is... I'm trying to get that wood. That is what every single one is deeper than the one before it. And then whenever they show the clips of him like trying to set up the live show and everything, I'm like, okay, this guy, this is his talent here. His live shows, I guess, are just remarkable. I've never been, but watching them train for it and he gave a speech to his team and things like that. I'm like, okay, now we're watching a genius work here. Like this is what he's known for, having a great live show. He sold out our arena, I think 45 times in one weekend here in Indianapolis. I mean, the guy sells out stadiums. I mean, he is a incredible performer. But that docuseries, I could not get through it just because of those fucking confessionals. I was like, oh my God, how do you live in this? Everything was like the most dramatic mode. Every single line was like the more dramatic than the one before that. And I was like, okay, I get it. This is how you roll. And I respect that a lot. But it's just, I can't do it, Garth. I cannot do it. But then you realize why Chris Gaines happened, because, every single dramatic turn.
Hey, is there more episodes? I think I saw the first two.
I watched the first one. I'll never watch it again.
I started watching because I want to see if he talks about being Chris Gaines. That's the only reason I even turned it on.
Smart.
Does he not address Chris Gaines because that's just a different human and that's not who he is?
My mom, I'm not doing it. I literally, every single thing was so deep.
I should tell Jordy. Remember Jordy when he came on the show? Big Garth Brooks fan. We mentioned Chris Gaines. Jordy was unaware of Chris Gaines. So if I got to text Jordy after this to see if he Googled Chris Gaines, because he may want to try to protect his heart and not find out about Chris Gaines.
I hope, for the love of everything, that they were filming the behind the scenes of Garth Brooks trying to create Chris Gaines. Just with those confessional shots about if you rebirth yourself as an emo child, how will you look at the world? And that is what I'm doing. Mom said, oh my God, this can't do it.
Chris Angel. Did Chris Angel copy this?
I think Chris Angel was trying to look like Chris Gaines, yes. But Garth Brooks, incredible performer, He gave like millions of dollars to the local children's hospital here. He does a lot of with Garth's friends or whatever, Garth Brooks' Friends Foundation. Everybody in the NFL has a link to, not me, but everybody in our locker room went and did dinner with him or something like that. But watching that docuseries was difficult because of how profound every single word was. And it was like, he was just getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And I'm like, this is not for me, dog. I am way too shallow of a human to be here. And
you know, one of my favorite things, Pat, that like Garth must have just supreme confidence in himself and what he's doing when he's driving his truck through his 7 billion acres somewhere in, is it Tennessee? I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Tennessee.
He's from Oklahoma, I guess.
Well,
but
he moved Tennessee twice. You know, he moved first time.
But he was like, he's driving his truck all dramatic up, and we're going up to the point. He's like, a lot of songs been written up here, a lot of thinking. And then he makes a fire, and it's basically like it looks like a park with a little building with some picnic tables. He puts his feet up by the fire, and he just kind of just looks around at the surroundings. And I'm like, I understand the film crew. Like, I've been in situations where they'll ask, like, hey, this will be cool for, like, B-roll. So just act natural and look around. Like, Garth was all in. Like, he probably wanted to do more takes of that B-roll of him just pondering life and the questions he has.
Well, the speech that he gave at that fire while he was sitting by himself was about not being in an island away from people. I mean, it just didn't. I like the speech that he gave. He was like, hey, I like being a part of a family and a team and watching other people kind of succeed with you, because why are you doing it if not the case? Don't put yourself on an island. Don't play by yourself. He was literally sitting on an island at the time while he was saying that. And I think that might have been the part of the show where I was like, I can't fucking do it anymore. I'm sorry, Garth. I'll go to a show. I will watch you perform your ass off because everybody says you're a great showman, and watching you break down the show for sure. But I cannot take another deep dive into Chris Gaines' brain, which I think is where we're headed every time Garth starts speaking around that fire pit.
I just think Chris Gaines needs to make a comeback.
Bro,
post-COVID.
How about when he was sitting like this for the confessional at one point? He was leaning over and he was doing this.
So bizarre. Everything he does is so
I
bizarre.
couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it because I don't know anything about this guy.
How do you could you take yourself serious? Like, that's what I would try to put myself in those shoes. I'm like, all right, when you do certain things, like, oh man, my dad's gonna kill me for this. Like, if they see you doing something that's not authentic to who you are, obviously that's authentic to who Garth is. But I don't know if I just couldn't. I couldn't stay in character.
I appreciate that Garth Brooks knows that he has amassed probably $700 million doing something, and he wants to spread a little bit of knowledge, and I appreciate that. But I don't know. It's just like all those motivational speakers, though. We went to a motivational speaking event. We were invited to one, and I had to leave. I couldn't do it. I just can't.
Wait, why did you go?
Because I was invited by the person that was speaking.
Who? Who was it?
It was a guy we didn't know. He was a guy who, I forget who it was.
Yeah, I can't remember.
But we had to leave because
that's
I couldn't.
false. I mean, that's 100% false. You
just
definitely
said,
know who it was.
hey,
But
come
yeah,
check it
keep
out.
going.
That's all he said. Come check it out.
Come check it out. Yeah,
You know who he was, OJ.
What's his name rhyme with?
Can't even say that because
Shmoney Schmobbins?
can't say it. No, you got to pay like $10,000 to get into one of Shmoney Schmobbins things, and I've watched a documentary on that guy. That is a big time trip. And by the way, I've heard
that too. Made me not want to go.
Yes, yeah. But I've heard whenever you go, you're in. You know, you're in the and then you're clapping.
And then looking at each other. Remember when they had to he would make people stare in each other's faces and yell weird things or say things. I was like, oh, like before this, I read multiple things that he has written. I'm like, oh, this is cool, man. And then I watched that and I was like, oh, this is a 2-hour infomercial for his big get together down in Florida. That before I watched this, I'm like, oh, that may be a cool thing to attend someday. And then now I just check that off my list as one thing that I don't need to do.
Well, AJ, you and I are a specific group of humans. I would assume that those things help a lot of people, okay? They help a lot of people. I would assume that that's why they happen, giving somebody a sense of belonging and purpose and things of that nature, and seeing how successful people operate and the conversations and all that shit. But boy, I went to one of these things, and it was my first time ever going. I was kind of excited to go see it because I've heard this, by the way, mega business. These people, they selling out these conference halls. You do these.
I've been and I've watched, and I'm almost jealous of the setup that a lot of these big time motivational speakers have, to where you can become a trained minion of this person, and this guy at the top is still collecting money from all the people that you train to be like a certified speaker or whatever person that can get a group together and try to recruit more people. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's a motivational pyramid scheme, but the whole thing is very interesting. But we went to one because I was invited to one, And I went. I was excited. I walked in.
Wait, where was it? What venue?
It was in Indy.
I'm trying to get a feeling of how big this person was. What was that? The arena?
Pretty large. No, but our convention center is massive. That's why so many people come to Indianapolis. We have a massive convention center. So it was at the convention center. I think there was 7,000 people there.
The room was huge.
The room was one of the biggest rooms I've ever seen. But
All for one speaker?
he was a part of the. I think he was a part of the.
Oh, it was Gary Vee.
I'm not saying any names of who it was, but I go to this thing with Foxy, with Zito. We have seats. They have seats for us, which is very nice of them. So we get there. We sit down. They just got done clapping. Everybody sits down. It's like perfect timing on this. And this thing starts. And maybe the first minute and a half, I was like, okay, here we go. And I've only seen, I think, comedians do like this type of stuff where like comedy is added into the stories and stuff like that. No. It was all motivational, deep, very, very, very intense stories about person's said life and coincidences that happened and a big motivational monologue on the backside about that thing, about what it taught them. And then people started clapping and then there was a clap break and then they would sit back down and then bingo, we get into another situation. I had to leave. I had to get up and I was like, this is so uncomfortable. I can't do this. I get that thing. I think it's called tack, where you feel embarrassment for somebody else or you like don't. Like, I don't want to say embarrassed because that's not how I felt about the person, but I felt so uncomfortable for what was happening. I was like, oh, I have to get the fuck out of here as quick as possible. The boys were also a little bit uncomfortable, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was very, I mean, it was tough. It was
The good ones, see, the people that do that are very good, like, it works. It is very motivational. It gives you, like, real life things that you can use. But unfortunately, there's a long line of people that you would never want to go see speak.
I think, though, if you're going to one of those, you're kind of looking for something, right? If you're going to one of those events, you're looking. It's like when people come
Everyone's
to
trying to get better. Like, everyone wants to improve and see what they can do to get better.
But as a fan or an audience member, when you go to a comedy club, you're going to laugh. That's why I came here. So you'll probably laugh at things a little bit more in a comedy club than you will somewhere else because you're actually going there to do that. And a gym. Probably going to work out more than you work out at home because you went there to get in shape. When you go to these conventions and things of that nature, you're going to try to get motivated. So no matter what the person says up there, you are going to get motivated and inspired somehow. We didn't pay the whatever thousands of dollars it was. We did not go to get motivated. I went to learn a little bit about the person that was speaking because I didn't know them very well. And I lasted, I think, 4.5 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. And I was like, all right, I got to take a phone call. I'm getting the fuck out of here. I can't do this. I was so uncomfortable. Maybe I'm not mature enough. Maybe that's what
Who would? Can you think of anyone out there on your radar that would hold your attention in a situation like that for an hour?
Tim Tebow.
Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the obvious answer. Anyone else other than Tim?
Meta World Peace.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, he was awesome this morning. I talked to him for like 20-some minutes this morning or whatever on a Zoom call. I did not expect it to be as deep as it was. He was really, really good. There's an inspirational guy, by the way. There's a guy that notably, self-admittedly fucked up. Actually said, I fucked up with the Malice in the Palace thing and everything that he's come out on the other side of that from mental health and everything. If he was to have a one-man show that was supposed to be, like a motivational inspiration thing like that, I would watch that. John Leguizamo was a guy that had a one-man show that told his life story. I forget where it was. It was good. The Pest, I mean, he absolutely crushed
He's a comedian. I mean, Leguizamo's like a comedian as well. It's kind of a stand-up show, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you have to, though. Like, I don't know how the person that I was watching, and maybe they got to the comedy an hour in and I wasn't there for it, but I don't know how you don't.
Usually not how it works, but yeah. I doubt you wait an hour to get into your good stuff.
No, the heat was brought early, by the way. The heat was brought very early, and I think that's why.
You mean the fake enthusiasm, I'm guessing?
No.
Fake enthusiasm to the show?
No. By the way, I was one of the best faux energy guys in the history of the NFL. Oh, my God.
I would love to watch you do that.
Oh, my. Boys, let's go. Let's go. Day 10 of training camp. Nobody could sleep last night because of fire drill. Let's have the best fucking practice of all time. Let's go! And then you hear Chuck Pagano be like, Jesus, Ben. I'm like, I got nothing today. I'm literally standing here for 3 hours. But you guys are about to make our team better today. Let's go! And then you get a couple like, fuck you, McAfee. It's like, no! Fuck you! Because because you're going to become a better football player today. Just like I was so good. I was so good at the Faux energy guy. Every morning I'd walk into our special teams meeting, whatever, like 7 a.m., whatever it was, 7:30 a.m. People would be dead. Oh, my God. My Faux energy from row 2 or whatever was always electric. Greatest special teams meeting of all fucking time. Ain't that right, Tom McMahon? And he's up there like, Pat, please, come on. Like, oh, and then he would make it a point. I'm like, oh, good call, coach. Good call. Good call. It had to be a nightmare to have me around. But
Did you ever do that at the wrong time to where a coach legit got mad? He's like, all right, Pat, not now. Just not now.
Yeah, there was a couple times where I questioned some things with my Faux energy, and I was summoned to the red carpet or whatever the hell it is in the back. Yeah, like, can't have you doing that during the meeting. Like, if you want to talk about that afterwards, maybe, but not during the meeting. I was like, I just want to make sure everybody knows where I'm at. You know, I want to let everybody know that I am not scared to say it right here in front of everybody. Yeah, but you can't do that. You know you can't do that. I was like, well, I don't know. That's why I did it. I just want to let you know that is why I did what I did there. So only a couple times. I think the Faux energy, if you do it right, if you mock it enough so people understand that it is Faux energy, you know it's Faux energy, I think that even brings some energy to people, though.
Absolutely. No, yeah. The fact that you're doing it sarcastically the whole time and it's very apparent, and you go, like, once you start to get a little pushback from other players that are going to have to go run their head into each other for 3 straight hours and then run gassers in between. So their headspace is a little different than yours, because I know from looking on the sideline and seeing guys like you, if that guy is serious, like if you're doing that and you're serious, the whole team should stomp your face.
Oh, my God. I couldn't imagine a kicker or punter being real, being like, let's go 100% today, guys. Every fucking rep. Let's go.
That dude would get killed. He'd get killed instantly on the spot.
Guys, every rep, I'm going to give my all every single rep today. Okay, first period, I got 7 balls. I'm going fucking hard as hell. I expect the same out of all of you. Ready, break. Okay.
I mean, Vinny's the GOAT. He refused to open his mouth in those meetings, you'd say.
Yeah, Vinatieri was like, hey, listen, I could get cut tomorrow. I'm not saying a damn thing.
Good for him.
But I feel like I rode the sarcastic level high enough that I really did bring actual energy to the places. You got to read the room. And I read that room that I was in there in that convention center. It was not one I wanted to be in anymore.
Oh, yeah.
I got to get out of here. I was inspired, though. You were inspired,
to leave. You
And
said
to-
you were there 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah, 7. I think it was 7.
Wait, did you leave during a standing O or something to where it wasn't super obvious?
No, it was actually while they were sitting, and I could tell that they were about to ramp up for another fucking go, and I right out the back. Had to do it.
Did all of you get up at the same time, or did you try to go one at a time?
Oh, yeah, no, we went.
It was a 3 count.
3 wide life, bub. We just went out there, same thing. I think Zito ran into the door, actually, so it caused a little bit of like a poop on the way out.
Stumped my nose.
Gotta do
I wish I knew who this person was. 7,000. What year was it?
It was big. I don't remember when it was. It had to be within the last 4 years.
Had to be, yeah.
All right, that's good to know. I'll be on the lookout whenever things start opening back up and those people start to hit the road again. I'll be on the lookout for someone coming through Indy that may really be right up your alley.
It's such bullshit. I mean, isn't it? I feel like I could go up there for probably 4 hours and I would do my Faux energy guy from practice, but I felt like that was what was happening.
They would believe you, though. That's the best part about it is all of them would believe you.
Today, we woke up, we stood, we washed our hands, we took a shit, we brushed our teeth. You know what is happening to people around the world? They don't have the ability to do that. So the fact that we did, we should celebrate our existence. We should celebrate our life. We should make the most. We shouldn't judge people. We should reach out and talk to friends. And how can we make this world better than it already is?
Yeah! Let's go! Woo! Can I get a hallelujah?
And then they sit back down, and then you just hit them with a round 2. Tonight, when I eat my dinner, I'm going to think of the food that I'm eating, and I'm going to say, there's people on this earth that don't get to eat the food that we eat. So why not enjoy every bread that we break with our friends? Why don't we... You get it. It's an easy thing.
Yeah, you'll speak for 4 hours straight without saying anything.
That's what they do.
Yeah. More power to them, I guess. I respect the hustle. If you can sell 7,000 tickets, are you kidding me? You can't blame that person.
It was kind of like the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and New Kids on the Block, how they came together and sold out arenas everywhere. That's like what this was that we were at. It was like a group of motivators came together to sell it all these, which is smart business. And I would assume there are people that get life put in perspective at these things and kind of help them out a little bit. But boy, I thought we were going to get to the comedy a lot early. Like I thought there would be a little comedic flair in there because I've never heard somebody speak for a long time without making at least one little haha.
You have to. Do you know who Jim Tressel is?
Do I know Jim Tressel? He was a coach for the Indianapolis Colts whenever I was there. After you guys ran him out of town for
He was up in the booth, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was working with special teams too. So like I know Jim. Yes, I know Jim Tressel.
So Jim Tressel, he's the man. Like
The man.
I love that dude. He is the absolute man. Could coach in the NFL. Could coach. He's one of the guys that could do it all. But like Coach Tressel gets, I'm sure he gets paid. He's the president of Youngstown State now, so that's where
Let's go Penguins.
What's that?
Let's go Pens.
There you go. But I've watched him speak many times. And Coach Tressel, people call him the sender, be like buttoned up, super professional, which he is. But when he gives speeches, he gives a ton of great like inside stories. But he's surprisingly very funny throughout the whole thing. Like always funny, really quick. And I think that's what surprises people when they see him speak. They don't expect that from him, but that's what makes him such a great speaker.
I don't think I am mature enough to not handle the people that don't have a little bit of humor mixed in with the uncomfortable, awkward, fake motivation. And I think that's why I enjoyed Jim Tressel. He was very good. Jim Tressel was very good when he was with the Colts. He was only there for like a year, maybe half a year, and he left, but it was cool getting to meet him. I dressed up like him at the college game day.
I know. You got to yell OH to the whole game day crowd.
Big crowd. Big crowd.
Is that the biggest crowd that anyone's ever yelled that in front of?
No, I don't think so. There was somebody else that we met.
That bumped you. Didn't he bump you on the way by when he was walking by you and tell you that?
No, I don't know if there was any physical time, but it was a confidence shot for sure. But they said that they did that in front of 100,000 plus people. And
wow.
The IO coming back was very loud, much louder than the one that I did. There's my Jim Tressel outfit in Columbus. By the way, incredible game day there. Got a chance to talk to Eddie George. Yep. Got a chance to go out into the crowd, meet
Stipe Miocic.
Stipe Miocic was there. Good guy. He's going to fight Daniel Cormier. I hope we get a little inside access because he's an Ohio guy and we crowd surfed together there. I had a great time in Columbus dressed up like Jim Tressel.
You look good. Who cut your hair before that?
K-Nu. It's our dude. K-Nu is our guy.
Does he come into the studio there?
Yeah, we weren't able to have him there for a while. He came in last week. Probably going to get him in here again. I was going to let my hair on top grow until the quarantine's officially over.
Yeah.
You know, because there's been no haircuts for a lot of people. But it's getting to the point where I got it. I mean, something's got to give here.
Keep it going.
Hey, I got a question. Why do people? Have you run into anybody? I know I have that. They show up and they have a weird, straggly, like awful beard, and they're like, "Well, you know, the quarantine, can't get a haircut." I'm like, "But you can trim your face, you idiot. Why do you don't have to have facial hair?"
The thing about that is you can actually do it yourself. That's kind of been doing.
Like if you just tell me you want to grow a beard, you don't have to use the excuse that I can't get a haircut, therefore my face has hair on it.
The only excuse for not being able to shave your beard is a playoff beard when you're a Pittsburgh Penguin and you're about to win a Stanley Cup. That's the only excuse.
They started? You think they've started them already?
Oh, yeah. I believe there's quarantine beards that are rolling straight into the playoff beard for that COVID Cup that Pittsburgh Penguins are going to go win. Probably in Columbus, if I had to guess.
Yeah, when are they going to announce where the NHL host cities are?
They've been awfully quiet.
It is. The NHL has kind of disappeared. They let the MLB kind of take center stage in the clusterfuckery, and the NBA is figuring it out. The NHL has kind of backed off. They were very quiet this entire time, though, and then they came out with the 24-team layout, and then the commissioner named
Gary Bettman.
Gary Bettman went on NHL Network at 4 o'clock that one day and laid it all out. Then they've kind of disappeared. They had a lot to figure out by then, but it does feel as if behind the scenes they're handling their business. And
Guys were on the ice yesterday.
skates are on ice,
Yeah.
sticks on puck.
So, Diggs, just because you're not listening doesn't mean it's not happening.
Yeah.
Hey, Nick, when's it start then? When's the NHL going to play?
Yeah, Nick, when's it start?
Sensible.
Where are they playing it?
They don't have an official start date
That's what
yet.
I thought.
But I do believe their goal is to beat the NBA back. And if the NBA said July 31st, I'd expect the NHL to try and beat that.
It's going to be March Madness every day, AJ. There's going to be hockey. There's going to be NBA. There's going to be golf. There's potentially going to be me playing in the MLB. There's going to be the NFL on the other side. This is going to be on the other side of this thing. How are they going to get it all in? How are they going to have AFL is coming back? I mean, how are they going to get all the sports in?
AFL's probably going to take all the attention, aren't they?
The NFL or the AFL?
AFL.
AFL's coming back early. They say, hey, PGA Championship, the Charles Schwab Challenge is happening in the afternoon of the 11th. We'll go 5:30 a.m. American time, 5:30 a.m. Fox Sports 1. Collingwood Magpies take on the Richmond Tigers. AFL sport you will love. You should watch it.
The Magpies?
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck it means either. I think it's a pretty bad name, but I assume it's a real good name over in Australia for some reason.
Go Magpies, baby.
Hey, let's go Magpies.
Magpies.
Magpie.
Line them up.
Come on, Pies.
When I pie, you pie, I pie.
What was that?
I was trying to do the when I dip, you dip, we dip, but it did not work out.
It wasn't bad. You had, by the way, you had the rhythm. You normally don't have the melody.
I love that song.
I put my hand up on your hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. You put your hand up on my hip. When you dip, I dip, we dip. Attaboy, Zito.
I feel like I'm watching Songmasters.
Songland, have respect for it. Speaking of, this is another show people should have respect for. McAfee and Hawk Sports Talk, Tuesday, June 9th, brought to you by Canadips. CanadipsCBD.com, PAT15, 15% off store-wide. This has been the show. AJ, you got anything else to say to the people?
No.
Garth Brooks would say, sometimes when you listen to shows, the shows are actually listening to you.
Hey, can we get Garth on? I know we're leaving. Someone get Garth on the show.
I don't think so. That's going to be a pretty expensive booking.
Come on down for a mental vacation.
We should start paying guests.
Boys on YouTube Live. It's McAfee and Hawk. It's McAfee and Hawk Sports Talk. AJ used to tackle quarterbacks, and he's a Rust Belt kind of guy.